Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we have got vibes coming tomorrow in NBA 2K25, my team, and they don't tell us a single dark matter and below card in this drop, but we now have 3 Invincibles: Magic Johnson, Kawhi Leonard, and Carmelo Anthony, in addition to 100 overall DeMarcus Cousins, Lonzo Ball, Glenn Rice, and Josh Smith. A drop with a lot of potential. Some interesting 100 overall names here with Lonzo, Glenn Rice, and Josh Smith, especially. Boogie could be a good power forward. All 3 of those Invincibles should be elite level cards, although of course they will be very expensive because they'll be very rare. It's an interesting drop for sure, and it's one drop where you can't really judge it right now based on the leaks as well, because we don't know what any of the dark matter or obviously Galaxy Opal cards are going to be. And I think that is something that can be a bit of an interesting topic at times anyway, I would say. And so I don't know, I like this drop. I think good 100 overalls is good. On paper, I'm not annoyed to start anyway. I think Glenn Rice, Josh Smith, and Lonzo all realistically could wind up being somewhat affordable, and all could wind up being pretty good 100 overall cards. Last week we got 3 terrible ones with Richard, Ray, and Tmrw, especially Richard and Tmrw. And so I don't know, I will reserve my overall judgment for this drop until we see the rest of the drop tomorrow on 2KDB. Also, I do wonder if we're going to see a festival event this weekend too. We could be seeing a pretty ridiculous amount of content if we do get that festival event, but this is a solid, on surface anyway, drop. I mean, some interesting names here for sure. I guess we'll start with the Invincibles. At the end of the day, we kind of know what the Invincibles are going to be. They're going to be better versions. They're all going to be the same, you know what I mean? Pretty much. They're all going to have the type of SIGs that are basically, I would assume all of these Invincibles will have Darius Garland dribble style, Steve Francis size up, either Steph, Trey, or Kemba escape, and Trey behind the back. Like, they're all going to have those animations. They're all going to have Pro 2 fade. They're all going to have really good jumpers. And I'm interested to see if we see change jumpers on Kawhi and Magic. I'm sure we'll get a change jumper, that I can guarantee. Kawhi and Carmelo, maybe. Carmelo already got a change jumper on his 100 overall, so maybe he gets that same jumper on the Invincible. Kawhi, probably a new jumper would be my guess, because his jumper isn't spectacular. So that's a guy who I definitely think will probably realistically get a new shot. Outside of that, I mean, the rest of the drop is where I think the interest really is for me, because I think y'all can pretty much agree with me that the Invincibles just aren't that interesting to the majority of us, because realistically Magic's going to be 4 or 5 million MT, Kawhi's going to be 3, and Carmelo's going to be around there too. You know what I mean? We're probably, none of these cards are going to be cheaper than 2.5 million MT at the cheapest or so. They're just not particularly attainable for the vast majority of the community. And even if you have enough MT to get one of them, it still might not even really be worth doing that, because you're spending so much MT on one card. So it's just hard to get super excited about the Invincibles. I think y'all probably for the most part agree with me on that, because that's just the way that the game has been, I feel like, recently. And give me a second, y'all. All right, my apologies, we're back. I had somebody showing up to do a work order for something, so my mistake. But we are back, and I don't exactly remember where I was, but I think we talk about the 100 overalls now, because I will say, like I said, these are 3 of the more interesting 100 overalls we've seen this year: Lonzo, Glenn Rice, and Josh Smith. I would say in terms of just like, they're probably going to be very solid cards at a very minimum, and they have the potential to be elite level cards. Lonzo is likely, I would say, probably the worst of the group. 6'6", the 6'7" wingspan is not at this point spectacular size. And while his stats and batters were already elite on the dark matter, animations are kind of the issue. Not that his jumper's bad, it is good. I just don't think it's ridiculously spectacular. Normal fade, hopefully that changes to Pro 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2K leaves it as normal. And then stuff like D-Book dribble style, Levine escape, AI behind the back, I would love to see all of those changed. If we could see Garland dribble style, good escape, plus even a solid behind the back, like a Garland behind the back, or obviously a Kawhi or a Trey would be nice. Any of those types of things would be nice for this card, I feel like. And if he gets some of those animation changes, better fade, better dribble style, better escape, maybe better behind the back, he could be a lot better. But I also wouldn't be surprised at all if 2K basically just throws Kemba escape on him instead of Zach LaVine, doesn't change anything else about the card, and says call it a day with Lonzo Ball. You know what I mean? That would make sense, and that would not be surprising at all. Now, with that being said, the other 2 are where we could get some really elite cards. Obviously, Glenn Rice has been spectacular before, including last year when he was probably the best card in the game. And his jumper as of right now is very good. It's Malik Beasley based Gary Payton, the second upper on quick. It is very quick and smooth. That was on quick with the pink diamond. It was really good. On very quick, that would be a great jumper, but pro dribble style, jaw escape, Luka behind the back, obviously not cutting it. Now, 2K wants to give him Patty Mills base, whatever upper he had last year. What was the card last year? He had, let's go look at him, because this card was legitimately one of my favorite card probably of 2K24. Patty Mills base, Colin Sexton upper, on very quick with Pro 2 fade, Kyrie dribble style, Trey escape, Francis size up. And behind the back was good too. It's Jamal Murray behind the back. So let's see that card tomorrow. Let's see Patty Mills base, Colin Sexton upper, on very quick, Pro 2 fade, Kyrie, or not Kyrie dribble style, Garland dribble style, Francis size up, Trey escape, and Trey behind the back. Why not? Make him a god like he was last year, like he has been before. Glenn Rice is one of those guys where he could easily be one of the very best cards in the game. Now, I will say if 2K swoops him up like that, he's probably going to be like 3 million MT. He's going to be one of the more expensive 100 overalls in the game, as is understandable. So maybe that wouldn't be awesome. Maybe what 2K does instead is they leave the release how it is. It's still a really good jumper. Give him a couple updated SIGs. He could still be a great card and maybe not be 3 million MT. That would be neat in my personal opinion. Obviously, I would like Tim to be relatively attainable. Archer has got a lot of energy now that we had a guest. But like Glenn Rice is an interesting card, and he's one that definitely could be a good 100 overall. And then Josh Smith is guaranteed to be at a very minimum a good card. A 6'9" small forward, power forward. This one is also small forward, power forward. Yes. And he is, I mean, oh, well, this is last year's Josh Smith. Whoops. Let me make sure we grab this year's Josh Smith. But obviously the stats and batters on this Dark Matter were already really good. I'm kind of surprised he's already getting 100 overall, to be honest, considering he got that, that Dark Matter less than 2 months ago. But 96 speed, 92 3 ball, 98 driving dunk, 97 interior, 98 block, 97 steal, like 97 perimeter. He was already ridiculously cracked in terms of stats and badges, not missing much. The question with him is going to be, are we going to get some better dribble SIGs? Because outside of rush dribble style, Kyrie escape, Levine behind the back are both really bad. If that's all of a sudden rush dribble style, Kemba escape, and Garland behind the back, with Pro 2 fade and the release he's got, he's one of the very best small forwards in the game. And I also think the small forward position is a position that is in need of a little bit more upgrades, a little bit more attainable guys. So I really hope tomorrow that we see a high level Dark Matter small forward, a Jonathan Bender, somebody along those lines who's got some size, got some switchability, provides some of that size and value that I think people are looking for at the Dark Matter tier. That's what's really going to make or break a drop like this, and really all these drops for the rest of the year, is do they have high level attainable cards? Because these 100 overalls might straddle the line of attainables. Boogie's probably not going to be great, because unless they change his jumper's not that great. He doesn't have an awesome player build. He's not a card that I think of realistically as being super spectacular. So I don't know. Josh Smith, Lonzo, Glenn Rice, all very interesting. They all have potential. Glenn Rice, I think, is the one that has the potential to be truly spectacular if 2K decides to make him souped again, but they also might not, and he might just be good. You know what I mean? Either way, some good 100 overalls that might be more attainable is always a good thing. The Invincibles don't excite me that much. They're great names and they'll be fun to use, but they're going to be hard to attain. You know what I mean? And then, I mean, Magic will be one of the best point guards in the game. He's going to be right there with Braun and Jokic and guys like that. He's going to be top 3 point guard. Like, this is going to be a nasty drop, but the Dark Matters and the Opals are, as always, what's really going to make or break this drop. And I hope that they're good. Fingers crossed. With that being said, that's going to do it for the video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back on more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.